Alright, hello guys, and I'm about to make a video on my fail code. I've been trying to make a text-based game for, well, Python in general, to learn Python. And I've gone through quite a few of the websites, like learnpythonthehardway.org. My friend had paid for the whole thing for himself years ago, and he let me use his account, so I got all the videos for that, and that still didn't help. I did, what was it, learnpython.org or .com. There was another one from codecademy.com. I've done multiples of these learning Python exercises, and I'm still not quite grasping all that I needed to grasp, but here you can see that I've got my imports from all the different files here. I got lots and lots of code written up, a lot of pseudocode as well. It's pretty messy. I've got a friend of mine helped me out on IRC with doing a map class of his own version compared to my current map class. Huge ass frickin' thing. I've got my game runner class here. I tried to make a global variable or a global function for help and quit, so that you could quit the game or ask for assistance on how to play the game at any given time. But I've yet to figure out how to implement that through it. But I have a feeling I'm going to have to completely remake the whole damn thing. Here we have the two variables to launch the game after user input with if statements. Some pseudo skeleton code for saving and loading a file. Here are my places for my map. It's ridiculous. I have a death function here so that when you die it exits the game. I've got class woods, woods start, where it prints out the beginning of the game. I got woods home, the first area I start out with quite a bit of options to explore, look, touch things, smell things, take things, talk to things and people and stuff. There's quite a bit here. The woods area is a 9x9 grid, so there's a total of like 81 places to go that have yet to be fully coded in, as you can see by just basic placeholder lines for like the majority of them. The plains, the hills, the fields, mountain, sea, cave, the sky, cities, towns, yeah, all that for the places on the map. Player stats, this is pretty messy as you can see. Pretty much self-explanatory. I plan to have this class be everything containing all the stats and things that can change your character in general, with classes as well. And because Python has a thing with it uses the name class, you can't use class for making classes for your characters. So I had to change that to path. So for a character to have a path, they'll go from like being a regular adventurer with basic skills and weapon proficiencies. They'll have other paths to go to after they've used their specific kind of weapon multiple times. Like if you use a sword and shield a lot, you'll become more prone to be turning into a knight later on. So like here you say Deaf Knight, like the sword and board, higher attack and higher defense, Knight Affinity. The more you use the sword and board, the higher your affinity becomes, and after it becomes equal to or greater than 30, you can choose to be a knight. And then same thing with the thief, the healer, the mage, the archer, the fighter, the summoner, the rider, and the tamer. And then you have something called a high path, where after you become one thing, you have the option to become one of two things. It is basically a light and a dark version of everything. So for the knight, you can be a paladin or a shadow lord. And for the thief, you could be a ninja or a pirate. The healer, you can be a priest or a druid. The mage, you could be an archmage or a battle mage. For the archer, you can be a hunter or a sniper. The fighter is a brawler or a martial artist. The summoner is an angel caller or a demon caller. The rider can be a jouster or a dragoon. The tamer can be a beast whisperer or a beast master. So there's plenty of things your character can be. Tons of equipment slots, inventory, currency, combat stats, interaction stats, social stats, reputation stats, locations, the visits you have accumulated to each location, which will unlock certain events after you've been to them for a certain amount of times. So I've got all this stuff mapped out, and you have the death file here, which will contain all the ways you die and print back the appropriate death to how you died. The characters, all the NPCs, and their reactions and their stats if they become party members or enemies. All the collectibles and ranks from common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, and event, all for items, weapons, and armors. And then the prices for said items, weapons, and armors, all listed on here, a big file. Now, I'm having issues understanding a lot of Python. I've grasped basic if statements, I've grasped the understanding of basic class formation from what you can see here in my game runner def instantiate self placemap self.placemap equals placemap blah blah blah, all this stuff. My biggest issue is always figuring out how to write the instantiation lines, because there's so much friggin' confusion and repetition that it bugs the crap out of me completely. Like, how do you know when to use self? Well, I know when to use self because you have this line here. This first line needs to be there for self to even be started. But when to use self dot whatever afterwards to, you know, figure out what you want to do with your current class. That's always a big confusion issue with me. And having global versus local variables and functions where you need them to be to make things work properly. Now, with LearnPythonTheHardWay.org, they have, like, on the free HTML document, they have, like, exercise 40 or something like that, where they say make your own game based off of the game that they made. And I've pretty much hit that wall where I am doing exactly that, but I am failing horribly at it. So I have yet to write anything out of quote-unquote good code. I am writing a lot of bad code, as it seems, because a lot of it's pretty messy. There are supposedly much easier ways to write them, and I have no idea how to do it. So if you can make a video response and post it below, or give me a comment saying links to places that you've learned code that you think is easy, I'll take a look at them and hopefully I'll be able to fix my code, because it's very confusing to be on IRC all the time, or Skype, or Steam, or whatever chat service I'm using to try and understand what other people's code means when they explain it themselves in a way that they understand, whereas other people don't quite understand it their way, because everyone learns differently. But yeah, there's my fail code and my problem with it. Any help would be greatly appreciated, and thank you in advance if you do.